Thank you, Brass Quintet. And we'll be hearing quite a bit more from them later this morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Bruce McConaughey. My pronouns are he and his, and I am your worship associate this morning. Whether you're here in the sanctuary, joining us virtually, or watching this service later, you are welcome. I'd also like to give a special welcome to anyone who's visiting us today. I hope you'll stay after today's service for some coffee and conversation. Juan Kim is our welcoming captain and is here to answer your questions about our congregation. Feel free to find Juan after the service to learn more about how to connect here at UUCSS. Our free faith has many sources, like sacred texts, reason and logic, and our own personal experience of the divine. This morning, we lean into pop culture for a service that is all about Star Wars. This beloved series offers a vision of what's possible when people believe in themselves, trust that they're part of something greater, and dedicate themselves to a more free future for all of us. And as Reverend Kristen will preach, it's full of Unitarian Universalist values and ideas, too. Halfway through the service, children and youth are invited to leave the sanctuary with Reverend Caitlin and go do a Jedi obstacle course outside. Babies and children of all ages are always welcome here in the sanctuary, and we have a nursery for babies and children ages 6 months to 5 years who might prefer to spend their time there. But before we do anything else, it's time to welcome one another. Let's begin by greeting those on Zoom. As you know how we usually do this, those in the sanctuary, please turn to the camera on your right and wave to those who are joining us virtually. If you're joining us on Zoom, it's now your turn, and here they are. Please turn your camera on and wave to those so those in the sanctuary can see you. Yes. Now, while those on Zoom greet one another in the chat, everybody here in body is invited to greet our neighbors around the sanctuary. In a minute or two, the music will start, and that's our cue to go back to our seats and sing the opening hymn, which is number 110, We Give Thanks. The words to all hymns, by the way, will be on the screen.
So before the service today, we did some Jedi mindfulness training. Thank you, Padawan's Young Jedi and our one Mandalorian for joining us for that. And after the time of prayer, we will invite the kids to go work on our Jedi nimbleness with an obstacle course that the teens are currently putting together for us. So here in this space, we focus on our commitment to interdependence and how that inspires us to do what is right, even when that seems impossible. And to start off, we have an invocation that invites everyone to lift up a tiny lightsaber. So did anyone get a lightsaber? If you need one, we've got a young Jedi here with light. So if you raise your hand if you need one. Okay, I need to see some folks who need one. Okay, so if you need one, raise your hand like this. All right. And then we have the slides for the invocation, yeah? Awesome. I got the hands up from Cease. All right. We might need a few more Jedi. I think we've got a few more. Thanks, y'all, for being patient with us. I just want to make sure everyone has their lightsaber so we can do our invocation properly. There we go. All right. Bring closer. There we go. All right, we got some more Jedi helping hand them out. Great. Oh, we have some more Jedi who just came in who need some lightsabers. All right, and as you get your lightsaber, make sure you've turned it on by gently cracking it. And I just want to remind everyone that this is a space of peace, which means we do not use our lightsabers to hit or poke each other. Lightsabers are only for, I saw that. We're gentle and careful. I think we just need one more over here. Oh, and one in the back. That's right. Okay. All right. Almost ready. All right, can we grab a few and just take them to the back? All right, Linda's got her hand up, and then I think we're good. All right, Mary Beth, can you run a couple back to Linda there? All right, I think we're ready. Shake it, make sure it's ready. Shake it out, shake all that energy out, get ready. That's right. Wiggle out your energy. Okay. All right, everyone got your lightsaber? Yes, I see them. All right. May the Force be with you.
And also with you.
Lift up your lightsabers.
We lift them up to the rebellion and the resistance.
We cast away the spirit of Jar Jar, bringer of mindless chatter and unnecessary anecdotes. We call forth the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, patient teacher and speaker of riddles.
Come, spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, come.
We call forth the spirit of Yoda, ancient teacher of wisdom.
Come, spirit of Yoda, come.
We call forth the spirits of Padme and Leia, strong and fierce leaders of nations and mothers.
Come, spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, come.
Oh. Spirit. All right, let's try it again. We call forth Padme and Leia.
Come, spirit of Padme and Leia, come.
All right, now we should. There we go. We call forth the spirit of Han Solo, determined friend and defier of odds.
Come, spirit of Han Solo, come.
We call forth the spirit of C-3PO, anxious and determined, and R2-D2, humble in service and great of heart.
Come, spirit of R2-D2, come.
The Force is truly with us. So good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Caitlin Cotter-Koilberg. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am your minister of spiritual growth. It is now time to light our chalice, spirit of our free faith, and reaffirm our congregational commitment. So I invite you to rise in body, voice, or spirit for our chalice lighting.
Are we ready? that out just a little bit. There we go. Okay, please join me in saying the words on the screen as C.J. Schmidt lights our chalice and then blows it out. Here we go. Now, there you go. Okay. Thank you very much. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom demands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being.
Kindle a spark, fragile, full of power. Hold it in your hand, hold it in your heart. Let it warm you, let it fire your spirit, let it burn bright, let it burn bright in your soul. Kindle a spark, fragile, full of power. Hold it in your hand, hold it in your heart.
So, right? I don't know that it happened this way, but I do know that it's true. That long ago and far away in a land called Hollywood, there was a queen of cinema named Debbie Reynolds who gave birth to a baby girl, her own little princess. That's right. And named her Carrie Fisher. That's right. Carrie Fisher played Leia. Carrie Fisher loved books and writing and her mother, and she grew up to be an actress just like her mom, a very famous actress who played a very famous character who was... That's right. Leia Organa, Princess Leia, who became General Organa, a princess whose parents were a queen and a Jedi Knight who grew up determined to do the brave thing, to fight for what she believed was right, even when it seemed impossible, and inspired other people to fight as well. This is one of the things I love about Leia, right? Princess Leia was a person who loved fiercely and who fought hard fights and who was very funny, right? And so was Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher was a person with a mental illness called bipolar disorder. Have any of you heard of this? Bipolar disorder? That's right. The way she described it once was that it was kind of a virus in the brain that makes you go very fast or very sad or both, and that those were fun days, which I think was a sarcastic way of saying that those were like really, really tough days, right? So she said judgment wasn't one of her great things, her big good things, but she had a great voice and she wrote well. She wasn't a good bicycle rider. She was just like everyone else, she said, only louder and faster and slept more. She taught a lot of people that it was okay if our brains worked differently than other people's, if we needed medications to help us, that we weren't alone. Her fans called her Space Mom. Princess Leia in the Star Wars movies and books and video games and all the rest taught so many of us about creating community and taking charge when we needed to and being bold and feisty and kind. Carrie Fisher taught a lot of us the same things. She said, "Stay afraid, but do it anyway. What's important is the action. You don't have to wait to be confident. Just do it, and eventually the confidence will follow." Some days, being brave was really hard for her, and when things got tough, she had a special thing she'd do. She would cover herself in glitter. She said that her therapist would know whether it was a good or bad day based on how much glitter she was wearing. And when she went out into the world and met with people who admired her acting and writing and speaking in all the ways that she was brave, she carried glitter with her. And if she thought someone was having a bad day, she'd stop and she'd look at them very closely and she'd reach into her bag and pull out her glitter and she would gently cover their face in it. And then often she would bop them on the nose and then just like keep going on her way. So at these big stressful events, that's right, Glitter Princess. On these big stressful events, the security people and the tech people and the fans would run into each other covered in glitter and be like, "Oh, you saw Carrie too." Right? Like her autograph lawn took forever because she would do a glitter blessing for every single person that came through too. So on Star Wars Day and lots of days, people who love this character and the actor who played her love to wear glitter because it reminds us that we can do impossible things. We can make community and encourage each other and do what needs to be done even when we are afraid. We know we can do it because Space Mom taught us we could. So, in honor of Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia, Reverend Kristen and I have glitter. This is special cosmetic grade biodegradable glitter that has been suspended in like really fancy aloe gel. So it should be safe for all skin types. And we invite you, if you love Carrie Fisher, if you love Star Wars, or if you just would like a glitter blessing today, to come forward as we play Leia's theme. Just point to where you want your glitter.
turn it off. So it is now time for joys and sorrows. Thank you, evening me out. It's now time for joys and sorrows. I invite anyone who has something precious that they would like to share with the whole congregation to form a line over here. And when you come up to the microphone, please be sure to speak loud enough and close enough to the microphone that we can hear you. And please begin with your name so that we know who you are. And Bruce is here to help you light a candle if you wish. And after each person shares, I hope you'll join me in saying, "In every joy and sorrow, we are held in love beyond belief." Who have shared sorrows aloud, and those who carry sorrows that are too deep for words, feel held in the loving kindness of this congregation and the love that never lets any of us go. So meditation is practiced in different forms all over the world and even in Star Wars. And this morning, I invite all of us to try out meditating like a Jedi. First, by focusing on your breathing. Don't change your breathing just because I said that. Just close your eyes and notice your breathing. Notice what it feels like, filling your lungs, leaving your lungs. Notice its rhythm. By focusing on our breathing, we can calm our minds. Now, as Yoda once instructed Luke, let's try to reach out with our feelings, with our compassion. The force flows through all living things, but we need quiet, calm minds to sense our connection with all of those other living beings. As you follow your own breath, notice the way the breath of life fills everyone else in this room. As you breathe calmly in and out, consider the trees and plants all around our church campus and the way that they're tied to the breath of life, replenishing our oxygen. Now consider all of the people and animals sustained by the breath of life here in Silver Spring, all over Maryland, all over the United States, and on the entire planet Earth. We breathe in and we breathe out, and we are singular and unique, and we are all connected by the force, the breath of life, the divine spark. Focusing on our breathing, let us enter now into a time of quiet for meditation, reflection, and prayer. If you have suffered a deep loss in the last year, I invite you to stand or raise your hand during the silence if you wish, so that the congregation can bear witness to your grief. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
breathe in. I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. God of many names, yet beyond all naming, breath of life, we give thanks for the joys among us today. We hold in loving care all those with sorrows and concerns, for friends and loved ones, for our hurting world. Fear, pain, and the scope of the world's evils weigh heavily on many of our hearts. So we give thanks today for this congregation and the many others like it, where we are reminded again and again that love is stronger than hate, that doing the right thing is worth it, even when the odds are against us. When we grow disappointed in ourselves, in the ways maybe we haven't been our best selves, remind us that the force of life and strength, wisdom and kindness is in each of us, and there's nothing we can do or fail to do that will blot it out. Remind us that we are loved, and that the same love that holds us will never let anyone else go either. This morning, we give thanks for this strong yet tender, challenging yet comforting, hallowed yet quirky church community where all are loved just as we are, but too much to let us stay that way. And we give thanks again and again for all in our world, both past and present, who know they're part of something greater than themselves, who use the force of love and power for good, whose lives bear witness to grace and mercy, who dedicate themselves to a future that is more free for all. These and all things we pray for love's sake. Amen. Blessed be. Now, while most of the grown-ups are going to stay here in the sanctuary to explore the wisdom of Star Wars, I now invite all of the kids who would like to take part in the Jedi obstacle course, and any adults who wish to go with them, to go with Reverend Caitlin to do that now. Now, most Sundays we sing a song that our music director, Michael Holmes, wrote for our children's recessional, but today we dismiss our young Jedi in training to the March of the Resistance, written by the incomparable John Williams. As our amazing brass quintet plays our next song, please make your way out of the sanctuary, young Jedi. Best Sunday ever. All right, so in place of a reading this morning, we have a video. It is titled The Heart of Star Wars. It was created by my friend and colleague, the Reverend Sean Neil Barron. All right.
There's some things in Star Wars that just don't make sense.
If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Risk it.
To set the scene, they had just rescued the princess
disabled
Leia.
the tractor beam,
and we're about to escape from the Death Star. Faithful Jedi Master, Darth Vader, his fallen apprentice. Obi-Wan simply lets himself be cut down. Confusing it is.
But it's done to deliver one of the
central messages of Star Wars,
which is that true power doesn't come from laser swords or super
grand
weapons,
armies or
true
super
power
plans.
isn't about
True power
control.
isn't about control.
It's about the very stuff that binds all living beings to the next.
A
See what I
force
did there?
made
See
up
what I
of
did
the
there?
very
Made up
stuff
of the
of
very
life
stuff
itself,
of life
itself,
that some might call goddess or goddess,
a power
love
that is
a power
calling towards
freedom and liberation for all
where
beings,
mutuality
where mutuality expands.
The problem is when we say that,
problem
it
is
sounds
when
all
we say
hokey
that,
and
it sounds all
religious,
hokey and
right?
religious, right? That true power is
love,
about
not trusty
love,
and solid,
not
like
trusty
blaster
and solid,
by
like a
your
blaster.
Sir,
The Imperials are closing in.
What should we do?
Let's just breathe and feel the interconnectivity of all life.
Sir, is that an order?
Is that
over and over again in Star Wars canon,
we're told to trust,
to put your faith in a seemingly invisible
rather
power,
than any other means
which
of
is what
control.
Luke
which is what Luke
He's in the
does.
cockpit of
He's
his
in the cockpit of his
about
to fly through a treacherous trench to blow up
and
the
hears
Death
the
Star.
voice
and he
of
hears the
Obi-Wan
voice of
telling him to
Obi-Wan,
trust
telling him to trust
the Force.
to push away the control of technology,
the
targeting computer that
the
might
targeting
allow him
computer that
to
might allow
create
him
the best
to create
shot,
the
to
best
trust the
shot
movement, to
of
trust
the
the
universe.
movement of
It's
the
kind of a
universe.
Jesus take
It's
the
kind
wheel
of a Jesus
moment.
take the
If
wheel
the wheel
moment.
was a weapon
If the wheel
about to
was a
kill
weapon about to
1.5
kill
million people,
1.5
to
million
save
people,
the entire galaxy from an
existential
But
threat.
that's another.
But that's
video.
another.
Now for the second
video.
message.
Now
of
for the
Star
second
Wars.
message of
Do you
Star
remember
Wars.
the moment?
Do you remember the moment? The moment you learned the truth. The moment you learned the truth
at the heart
of the
of
secret
Star
at the
Wars.
heart of Star Wars.
Yes. That moment.
Jar Jar
That
Binks'
moment.
last name.
Jar Jar
No,
Binks'
just
last
kidding.
name.
The biggest
No,
plot
just kidding.
twist in history that was kept under
George
wraps
Lucas until the
by
very
George
end.
Lucas until the
The
very
fact is,
end. The fact
spoiler
is
alert,
that
spoiler
Darth Vader
alert,
that Darth
is Luke's
Vader
father.
is
Luke's father.
No, that's impossible.
That's
I mean, how could someone so evil?
I mean, how could someone so evil evil, so bent on the destruction of everything good in the world, everything good in the world, be related to our gallant hero, Luke Skywalker.
It's impossible.
Apparently, after consulting with a child psychologist, added Yoda back into the movie to confirm Luke's lineage, because he thought children wouldn't trust Vader. Fair, but within this lies the second key message in Star Wars. The dark side, far away, for as the novelist Alexander Solzhenitsyn says, the line between good and evil doesn't run between us, but within each. And so all of us need to be on. And so all of us need to be on. Now the third message in the Gospel of Star Wars. In the third movie, Luke allows himself to be taken to his father because he's convinced there's still good. He goes to the Death Star. To save. When he gets into the throne room in front of the Emperor, he suddenly is filled with a rage, and he ends up fighting. It's only when he cuts off his father's hand. He sees the stump where the mechanical hand of Vader and he feels his own realizing the dark side ain't far away. Trust in the Force. He refuses. He won't be seduced. He won't allow himself to win the battle, to become the evil. Battle rages around space and on the forest moon. The very fate of the galaxy hangs. And what does he do? No longer going to fight his father. Trusting the Force. And what does he get for it? He gets zapped by a bunch of lightning. And that may have been the end of the story. Because remember, Because what turns the tide of the battle in Return of the Jedi is not any of the tactics, the campaign, or even the cutest little Ewoks. What turns the tide of the battle something squishier. It's love. Because Vader realizes as he sees his son being fried, he too needs to save. He stands up, grabs the Emperor, throws him an endless tube. There is no question that the Emperor needed but at what cost? And how? The battle towards liberation is a long one. Evil will always have a Hydra. It's like a Hydra. You cut one head, two heads seem to appear. The Gospel of Star Wars center in our hearts, saving what we love. Not only, as Lee says, because it brings our beautiful pieces of diversity, a coalition of power, but also because it helps us resist that seduction, to control, to winning at all costs. Constantly taking the harder road of asking that question. What does the Force require of us? May the Force be with you.
Can't go? Do this to clear out.
You can't go yet, sorry. Humanity is a stream whose source is hidden. Our being is descended into us from we know not whence. As the earth lies in the soft arms of the atmosphere, that unity, that force within which every person's particular being is contained and made, that common heart of which all sincere conversation is worship, to which all right action is submission, that overpowering reality, which evermore tends to pass into our thought and hand and become wisdom and virtue and power and beauty. We live in succession, in division, in parts, in particles. Meantime, within each person is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. And this deep power in which we exist, and whose beatitude is accessible to us, is not only self-sufficing and perfect in every hour, but the act of seeing and the thing seen, the seer and the spectacle, the subject and the object are one. We see the world piece by piece as the sun, the moon, the animal, the tree, but the whole of which these are the shining parts is the Force. Those words sure sound like they came from Star Wars, don't they? all things having an underlying unity in the Force, that all of us exist because of and in the midst of deep power that's accessible to all of us. Believe it or not, those are not from Star Wars. They're the words of 19th century Unitarian transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson from an essay he wrote called The Oversoul. Nerd alert. The only changes I made to his original words were to update his language for gender inclusivity and to swap out the phrase oversoul for the Force. They mean the same thing. As your minister, I have some limited expertise in our Unitarian Universalist faith, its history, its theologies, but I am the first to admit that I am not an expert on Star Wars. As many of you know by now, I'm a pretty huge Star Trek fan, mostly because it depicts the kind of future I dream of for humanity. But what I appreciate most about Star Wars is the way these stories that are set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away can speak to the reality of living right here, right now. In that way, Star Wars is a lot like the Bible and a lot like religion. Oh man, you're thinking, what a segue. Comparing the Bible and religion to Star Wars? I can sense your eye rolls and inward groans, but stick with me here. Like the Bible, most people either love or hate Star Wars. Whether we're talking about the Bible or Star Wars, some people spend an awful lot of time arguing about what should be part of the canon or tradition and what shouldn't, and how to interpret what it all means. We know that Zen Buddhism inspired the spiritual and metaphysical foundations of Star Wars, and Ralph Waldo Emerson and the Transcendentalists were reading an awful lot of Eastern religious writings when he wrote that whole Oversoul essay. And for what it's worth, George Lucas apparently describes himself as a Methodist Buddhist. Who knew? While there are plenty of interpretations out there with their own devoted fan bases, everyone who watches Star Wars or practices a religion or reads the Bible will have their own experience of it, and ultimately will have to decide for themselves what it means for them. So, as a Unitarian Universalist minister, this morning I offer you what Star Wars means to me. Reverend Sean Neil Barron in our video today already talked about the Force, what Emerson called the Oversoul, and whatever we call it, it's the force at the heart of the cosmos and every breath we take. It connects us to everything that's ever been and everything that ever will be. And in order to tap into the Force, we have to learn to trust it, to let go of the mirage that we have control over the way that things will turn out in our lives and in the world. Reverend Sean also talked a bit about the reality of evil and how it's tied together with power and control. We're seeing this play out in real time, right here and now in the United States, are we not? Our free faith tradition doesn't teach that humanity is bad or somehow doomed from the start, but it does teach that we all have the potential for both good and evil inside of us. And as William Ellery Channing put it, in order to fulfill our potential to grow in likeness to God, we have to nurture our minds and hearts and spirits the same way that we would nurture a plant in a nursery. In other words, we can choose to become like Jedis, sharpen our minds, and become guardians of peace and justice. I also want to lift up that when people join the Rebel Alliance, they do so of their own free choice. But when people become part of the empire, it's because they've been colonized, forced, seduced, or coerced into it. This is at the heart of what 20th century Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams taught. He called it voluntary association. And he believed that voluntary associations are the best hope humanity has for positive social, economic, and political change. But perhaps the most important lesson in Star Wars, for me, is the very universalist teaching that no one is ever completely beyond redemption. As Reverend Sean explained, after Luke Skywalker learns that Vader is his father, Luke maintains hope that there's still goodness somewhere deep inside of him. Even when his closest friends and sister Leia insist Vader is utterly lost to the dark side, Luke will not accept it. Luke attempts to win his father. Those attempts fail until the Emperor tries to execute Luke for his defiance. Right as Luke is about to be killed, Vader intervenes and sacrifices his own life for Luke's. Vader has just enough strength to look at Luke and say, "You were right about me. Tell your sister." Though the accountability in our world is messed up and all too often punitive, none of us is the worst thing we've ever done. All of us, every single human being, has the potential to have a change of heart, a change of mind, to journey from lostness to being found, to let go of the urge for power over and to embrace the mutuality of power with. And because every single one of us has the potential to tap into the force for good, we are all precious, beloved, fearfully and wonderfully made. Ultimately, for me, Star Wars is a collection of stories about the big picture. It's about how entire worlds can be saved when even a single flawed person against terrible odds chooses to act for good. That when we believe in ourselves and focus on the Force and trust that our lives are part of something greater, all of us can help resist evil and create a future that's more free for everybody. That's the essence of Star Wars, and I think it's the heart of our free faith, too. May it be so, may we make it so, and may the Force be with you.
This congregation governs itself through the democratic process, calling our own ministers and electing our own leaders. This is both a great blessing and a great responsibility. UUCSS is free to follow wherever truth, love, and justice lead us together, but we are also responsible for fueling the journey ourselves. Unlike some congregations, ours receives no funding from a denomination. Everything we do is possible because of our collective generosity. So, let's be generous today. As you can see on the screen, in just a minute, there it is. As you can see on the screen, there are lots of ways to be generous with UUCSS. If you are here in person, You can also place your offering in one of the offering plates as it is passed around in just a moment. In a world of so many transactional relationships, may our offering today remind us that this church functions outside of the consumerist paradigm. Our worship isn't entertainment. Our programs aren't products. They're mutually created experiences that lift us all up and help us to grow. Our offering isn't about paying for worship or community, religious education or justice. It's about the way all of those things become more possible when we learn to be generous. The offering will now be gratefully given and received.
A long, long time ago. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, Naboo was under an attack. And I had thought me and Qui-Gon Jinn could talk the Federation into maybe cutting them a little slack. But their response, it didn't thrill us. They locked the doors and tried to kill us. We escaped from that gas and met Jar Jar and Boss Nass. We took a bongo from the scene and we went to Theed to see the Queen. We all wound up on Tatooine. That's where we found this boy. Oh my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Did you know this junkyard slave isn't even old enough to shave? But he can use the Force, they say. Ah, do you see him hitting on the Queen? Although he's just 9 and she's 14, yeah, he's probably gonna marry her someday. Well, I know he built C-3PO, and I heard how fast his pod could go, and we were broke, it's true. So we made a wager or two. He was a prepubescent flying ace, and the minute Jabba started off that race, well, I knew who would win first place. Oh yes, it was our boy. We started singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Now we finally got to Coruscant, the Jedi Council. We knew it'd want to see how good the boy could be. So we took him there and we told the tale, how his midi-chlorians were off the scale, and we might fulfill that prophecy. Oh, the council was impressed, of course. Could he bring balance to the Force? They interviewed the kid. All training they forbid, because Yoda sensed in him much fear. But Qui-Gon said, now listen here, just stick it in your pointy ear. I still will teach this boy. He was singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. We call caught a ride back to Naboo, 'cause Queen Amidala wanted to. I frankly would have liked to stay. We all fought in that epic war, and it wasn't long at all before little hotshot flew his plane and saved the day. And in the end, some Gungans died, some ships blew up and some pilots fried. A lot of folks were croaking, the battle droids were broken, and the Jedi I admire most met up with Darth Maul, and now he's toast. I'm still here and he's a ghost. I guess I'll train this boy. And I was singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. We were singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi.
And here is Tamara Bowman for our announcements this morning.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Bowman. I'm a member of the board, and my pronouns are she, her. Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services. We are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and part of the global UU denomination. Today we have 5 announcements. Our first announcement is an invitation from Green Sanctuary. The committee will meet in the Dolan Lounge right after today's service, and everyone is welcome to attend. We will be planning fun activities for our June 11th Pollinator Festival, and there will be snacks. Will is in all uppercase, so I assume the snacks will be good. Next is an announcement about Sunday support, the team that organizes logistical support for our Sunday services. If you're new to UUCSS or just interested in helping out in an easy, simple way, this is the team for you. Sunday support volunteers greet people as they arrive, pass the offering baskets, count attendance, and a few other similar tasks. To learn more or sign up to help out on an upcoming Sunday email, email sundaysupport@uucss.org. Our third announcement is about May 28th, which at UUCSS is Pride Sunday. If you're interested in helping to create or lead that service with Reverend Kristen, please email her at minister@uucss.org. Next, mark your calendars for 2 Sundays from now, May 21st. After the service that day, Reverend Kristen will lead our final visioning workshop. This is a process made better by every single person who participates, so we hope everyone who can will join us. And if you do, you'll be entered into a raffle to win the beverage of your choice with Reverend Kristen. And now for our final announcement about GA. General Assembly, the annual conference of the Unitarian Universalist Association. At GA, UUs from around the country get together for 4 days to learn, dream, sing, debate, and vote on central decisions. This year, the board has budgeted $2,000 as an experiment to support new delegates at GA. Our focus is on people whose identities are less well represented among us, particularly people of color, LGBTQ+, and folks with disabilities. Anyone can write to board@uucss.org to nominate yourself, someone else, or to ask questions. This year's GA is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but delegates can also attend virtually. Everyone should have received an email with this information and links to a lot more information. We hope you'll consider serving UUCSS and our wider faith by going to GA as a delegate. Thank you.
Please join me in the words to our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. And if I may add an appropriate P.S., may the force be with you.
And also with you.
And also with you, yes.
So we ask you to rise in body and spirit. We'll sing number 1057, and the lyrics are already up on the screen. So we'll hear it once through because this melody is not so familiar, but let's have Jim play it first.
My friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not created by human hands. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace and justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together held by that power. Those words by my friend and colleague, the Reverend Tom Shade. And now our worship has ended and our service begins.
another dent. Hi, Kathy. How you doing? Hi. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. It's nice and relaxed. So you're heading out? Okay. All right. See ya.
We got there.
Fun. We got there. Great song, man. Oh, Yankovic. Yanker, what? I want to step on that thing. So. Oh, yeah, right. I owe you a dent.
Continuing in the U.S. tradition, post-concert, we always go around to each other and toast and say, "Ethos ya on Dixie."
What was it?
Ethos ya on Dixie.